Okay, so this video is going to be all about multiplying fractions with models, and then we're going to carry what we learned from this into multiplying fractions, both positive and negative. So for the first learning target, it is, and you need to write down, I can multiply fractions to solve problems. Before I forget, I want you to go back and in your table of contents, you want to write down the page numbers that this falls on. And if you have been following along and doing things as you need to, this should be on page 32. So on page 32, you need to go back to your table of contents. You're going to add that to the next slot that you have here and put the date as well. So to refresh your memory from last year, the way you multiply fractions with models is you start out with a 10 by 10 grid. This represents kind of the whole. So if you are looking at this, you are going to take each part of the fraction and you're going to separate the top part into the first fraction and the side into the second part of the fraction. So as we move through this, you just want to kind of follow along and do what I'm doing. So in order to represent 1/2, we are going to take the 10 that are across the top and we're going to separate that straight into 1/2. So you're going to go straight down to kind of represent, well, this is half and this is half, which makes one whole total. And then you're going to go ahead and shade in 1/2 with your pencil. Because what you're going to look at is what are shaded both ways at the end. And you'll probably remember this from last year. So we are shading in 1/2. Once you have that done, let's kind of indicate that by drawing an arrow, kind of starting here and moving over. The next thing you want to do is separate going this way into fourths. So if we're going to do that, we need to go halfway in between because we know there are 10 going down. So if I wanted to separate this into equal fourths, if I did every 2, that would be fifths. If I did every 3, that would be roughly a third. And we don't want either one of those. So we are going to go ahead and do 1/2. So I cut across this way and do it as neatly as you possibly can. That wasn't a very straight line because I'm marking over what's underneath this page. But then you're going to skip again and you're going to go down to 2. Or this one actually is a little bit more even. And then you're going to go 1/2 again. So that each one of these is 1 2.5 blocks. 1 2.5 blocks. 1 2.5. 1 2.5. You see how we've kind of divided that equally between to create 4 equal sections. And the way that I figured that out is using my denominator. So my denominator is 4 here, so that I know that I need 4 equal parts going this way. Then what I'm going to do is, using a different color, I can shade in the thirds. So we're going across this way. Okay, that's 1/3. This is 2/3. And this is 3/3 going this way. So I would indicate that with my pen, kind of starting here and going up. So I know that this section right here is what I'm looking at, okay? So this section that is shaded by both the blue pen and the gray pencil are what I'm looking at. So I have to figure out, what am I even looking at here? Well, in order to figure out what you're looking at, you have to figure out how many sections you have total. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal sections. So each one of these sections is worth 1/8. So if I did 1/8 and then 2 8s, 3 8s, 4 8s, 5 8s, oops, 6 8s, 7 8s, and then 8 8s. Now I have to go back and think about, okay, how many of my sections did I shade twice? And that would be 1/8, 2 8s, 3 8s. 3 8s, right, are shaded twice. And that would be exactly the answer that I'm looking for. So the product of 1/2 and 3/4 is 3/8. Another way you can think about that is I'm just moving across here. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 4 is 8. So you're multiplying numerators and then multiplying denominators. I want you to go ahead and try out the model for the second one. So pause the video. I put the answer here so that you could see that, whether you got it correct or not. But go ahead and try to figure out the model, pause the video, and then when you come back, just kind of check yourself, and I will have it done for you. So if you're, replaying the video, I'm kind of trying to go through this quickly. I have my 1/2 done this way. Okay, and then this is in fifths, so I can go ahead and come straight across here to make each section 1/5. Then I'm going to shade this 1/2 because I know that this part is 1/2. And then I have to go this way to do the 3/5. So we have 1, 2, then 3. So we have 3/5. So coming here and going up. And the section that I have shaded twice would be 1/10, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 all together. 1/10, here's 2/10, here's 3/10, here's 4/10, here's 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, and then here's my 10/10. Okay, so I have shaded twice. I have 1, 2, 3/10, and that is why my answer is 3/10. So hopefully you're remembering some of this from last year. If not, you're gonna have more chance, a chance to practice some more in your work plan. You're gonna have a few models that you have to do. Let's go ahead and move down to the bottom of the page. I'm gonna show you how to cut this foldable because it's a little bit different than some of the ones that you've done so far. You wanna cut around the box. Okay, like you normally do. What's different about this one is that it has more dotted lines across the sides. See, now only this part is garbage. Okay, what you had to cut around, that's the only part that's garbage. Because you're going to cut these, but then you're going to glue them back on. So be careful when you're cutting this off, because you are going to use this again. So the two that you cut off these sides, you're going to flip it over, okay? So here's this. We know we're going to fold right here because it's a solid line. Okay, so you're going to have this. When you flip this up, that is where you're going to glue these pieces. So you want to glue this one here, and then you're going to glue this one here, okay? So you're going to glue those down. I know mine aren't glued down, but you're going to glue those down. I'm just trying to show you. You're going to do the same thing on the bottom. So you're going to cut this part, and you're going to cut this part, and you're going to flip it over, and you're going to glue the pieces down here and here, okay? This won't be here. This is what you're going to cut off and glue on here. Okay, so kind of moving forward, you're going to take that then and make sure this side is down. So this will be kind of, you won't see this part. Okay, so then you'll have something like this when you flip it over. And then it'll be folded right here, and then you're just going to glue it down like that so that you're ready to flip it open and write your notes. Okay, so once you kind of have that piece done, you want to write these things down. This says you can find the product of two fractions by multiplying the numerators and denominators. We kind of just talked about that up here. We're going to talk about it a little bit further using proper and then mixed numbers. But if you're talking about mixed numbers can contain or do contain a whole number and a fractional part. And that should be nothing new because we've talked about adding them already this year. So I'm going to flip this up. I want you to go ahead and write these two problems down, and then we're going to talk about them. So if you need to pause the video, go ahead. So I'm going to draw an arrow indicating that I'm moving in a horizontal direction. I'm saying 3 times 1 is 3. And then 8 times 5 is 40. Okay? So the answer to this is simply 3/40. So if I'm thinking about the steps, I'm going to scoop this up a little bit. I'm going to, number 1, multiply the numerators. Number 2, I'm going to multiply the denominators. And then 3, I'm going to simplify. Okay, and that's it. So you're going to multiply numerators, you're going to multiply denominators, you're going to make sure this is in lowest terms or it's simplified, and you're finished. There is one extra step for this one, so let's talk about if it's a mixed number. So if it's a mixed number, we're first going to convert like we've always been doing. So we're going to multiply 3 times 2 and add 2. So 3 times 2 is 6 plus 2 is 8. Over 3, we keep the same denominator. If it's, we're going to take, if it's different, it's going to be 4 times 3 plus 1. So this is going to be 13 over 4. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're simply going to multiply across, going this way. So 8 times 3 gives me, 8 times 13 is going to give me, let me do this, 13 times 8 is 104. And then 3 times 4 gives me 12. And then we have to see how many times is 12 going to 104. That would be 8 times. And then 8 times, that would be 96. If we subtract 96 from 104, that gives me 8/12, which then simplifies to 8 2/3. So my final answer, 8 2/3 here. I know that's a little bit difficult to see the way I circled it, but that is 8 2/3. So we're going to convert mixed number. Again, nothing new. Convert a mixed number into improper fraction, and then you're going to multiply as you would a proper fraction. So you're going to follow those rules right there. The same ones you've been doing. So we're going to multiply as you would a proper fraction. And that is it. So that is all you need for this page. Moving forward, once you understand and remember the rules for this, I'm going to ask that you go to the next page. And if you need some time to practice that in class, feel free. And then you can always come back to this video in order to do this page. So this is page 33. So in your interactive notebook table of contents, it should say pages 32 and 33 for multiplying positive and negative fractions, or just multiplying fractions in general. The learning target for this page would be I can multiply positive and negative fractions. So the nice thing about this is once you understand the rules for multiplying integers, they are the same rules for multiplying fractions, positive and negative. So on the top part of this page, I just wanted to review with you the rules for multiplying rational numbers all together. So the algorithm for doing this. So this is what you should have already learned in previous weeks. A negative times a negative is a positive. A negative times a positive gives me a negative. A positive times a negative gives me a negative. And then positive times positive gives me positive. So if I'm looking at this, if they have multiplying, I'll just write this out. So if the signs are alike, if you're multiplying negative and negative, then that's going to give you a positive, or a positive and positive. So the signs are alike, it's going to give you a positive.